Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Virgo for October 2016. Check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see what's new on my blog. And if you're interested in bringing that vision of your future self, your evolved future self, into the now, that is my department, and you can join me at my Spiritual Warrior Weekend, which is live in Sarasota, Florida on November 5th and 6th. Or if you can't make it to Sarasota, you can join us virtually. So check it out at anniehelpsyou.com. What's going on in October? We're going to talk about specific things for Virgo. We're going to talk about general transits that are completely relevant for all Virgos. What important things there are to know for the general transits for October, sweet days and challenging days. We'll get into all of that. But first I want to talk about things specific for Virgo. Last month, I promised that this month I would get more into Jupiter's sign change and what that meant, what that means for Virgo placements. We just had so much to talk about last time, we couldn't do it justice. Jupiter is the great expander. So wherever it is, it's working on expanding and planting seeds for future expansion in that area that it's in. So it's really important for us to know where Jupiter is, what it's doing, what it wants from us, and what we can expect. The early degree placements are going to start to see Jupiter's expansion in the second house. The rest of the middle and late degree placements still have time with Jupiter in the first house. So I'm going to break this down for you, and also definitely go check out my blog about this. Jupiter, if you go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on astrology or click on blog, click on astrology, then do a search on the bottom right for Jupiter. You can see a really nice summary of Jupiter in the different houses that can help to guide you to maximize this transit. So it just so happens that where Jupiter is transiting, which is a long-term transit, there are also planets that move more quickly, bringing short-term focus. So the same area, even though we're talking about Jupiter, it's still relevant for the month of October because there are also short-term transits in the same place where this long-term transit is occurring. Okay, so early degree placements are basically the September-born Virgos up to the first couple of days of September. The August-born Virgos up to the first couple of days of September. Or if you're watching for your rising sign, like 0 to 9 degrees. The middle and late are the rest of you. So what I'm about to describe for the early placements with Jupiter moving through the second house, the middle degree placements, you'll start to feel this more in months to come. And sometimes you feel it early because if a sensitive person can feel something coming, And then the later degree placements, you won't have this really start to get into your forefront until into next year. So basically Jupiter transits are about a year, but the later degree placements don't have their year start until into next year. So it's staggered. So when the great expander moves into the second house, many people can expect simply to make more money. This is one of the very easy increases in probability that I've seen from studying this in charts. I've seen it when Jupiter's moved through my own second house. I've seen it when countless clients have had Jupiter moving through their second house. So my work with astrology, I love to research things. And so having the chance to look at thousands of charts, I get to research ideas that come to me, intuition that comes to me, and to understand by asking people how things are affecting them, what's going on in their lives, I get a chance to see what the odds are that certain things will happen. We, of course, can only create what we're an energetic match to create. So if you have blocks to creating abundance, then Jupiter can bring the chance to clear the blocks, to plant the seeds, to create more abundance. But it can just straight up bring you more money. I know many people whose incomes have at least doubled when Jupiter has crossed through their second house. And this is what early degree placements are starting now. More money can also bring more expenses, but it usually brings more money to cover the expenses, and it usually increases the standard of living. Something that I have seen happen a lot is that after a Jupiter transit, someone can look back and say, wow, I actually did make a lot more money, but I don't have a lot in savings to show for it because people tend to increase their standard of living so rapidly as they're experiencing more income that when they look back on what they've saved or their debt, etc., maybe they didn't put a dent in it. So a good way to handle Jupiter moving through this house is to try to have some forced savings with the increase of income, so that by the end of the transit, you can also cushy up your savings account. You might also just have more stuff. When you have more money, you tend to have more stuff, and the second house has to do with things. Some of you might have nicer stuff. And on the other end, while Jupiter can expand like the luxuries and the standard of living, for some people, since Jupiter moving through the second house is expanding the energy of values, you might decide that you want to have more financial simplicity and you want to downgrade some of your experiences so that you can work less and have a simple abundance, an experience of simple abundance. So you might decide to cut out unneeded expenses, which might give you more free income even without making any more income. Planting seeds for these things is a very important idea too. So some of you might see these increases actually as Jupiter is moving through. But as the transit passes, if they haven't come to pass, don't be too concerned that there's no chance for expansion, because the seeds that are planted have 12 years to grow. And the more seeds you plant in the area of making more income or simplifying your finances, they can grow over time. Also, like I said, doing the inner work to clear out the blocks to your abundance is very critical to receiving the maximum. I have had many people write to me that have said, yes, I've had more money, confirming that this is a very strong potential with this. I've also had many people post when Jupiter was moving through different places for different people, and I've reported about this, that have said, I didn't see any of this happen for me. So, why? What I believe is that if you're not an energetic match for that outcome, there is no way that even a Jupiter transit or anything else is going to create it, because it's a law of the universe that you have to be a match for that which you want to create. So if you have issues that you don't have resolved, the universe can only expand your income so much. So if you find that you have large amounts of money come in and then all of a sudden it's gone, you can't sustain wealth, or a big expense comes at the same time as income and it's always that way and you never feel like you're getting anywhere, guaranteed you have an issue within you that doesn't allow you to get further than that issue. An amazing resource I love for this, which is perfect timing for you all, whether you're early, middle, or late degree placements, is a book called Tapping into Wealth by Margaret Lynch. As with most resources, just reading the book doesn't really change things, but doing the work in the book can actually facilitate this. And I have personally experienced the magic of this work myself. Tapping into Wealth by Margaret Lynch. It involves targeted EFT tapping for financial issues, typical financial issues. So check it out. Okay, if you're also trying to buy or sell something of value, this transit is amazing for you. If you're trying to work on sustainability, like having a garden or an electric car or living off the grid, Jupiter moving through the second house can dramatically improve your odds that you'll be able to create this for yourself if it's one of your goals. And again, working on the inner issues can help to make it work out. So for the rest of you, middle degree to late degree placements, so that's September born Virgos, or like 10 to 29 degrees if you're watching for your rising sign, you still have Jupiter moving through your first house for several months, up to almost a year for your very late degree placements. This is working on expanding your self-esteem and your self-image. If you're trying to expand how people see you, like let's say you're a carpenter, but you also happen to be a painter, but you make your money through carpentry, and you're trying to expand your image, this can help you. It's like expanding how you see yourself, how people see you, how people know you. You can completely upgrade or change your look, your hair, your wardrobe, your body, your physical body. The Jupiter can help you gain weight. If you're trying to gain weight, the expander moving through your house of physicality can help expand your physicality. If you're trying to add muscle, this is amazing. If you're trying to lose weight, then Jupiter can create in your face very clear direction of how to resolve the issues that are causing you to have weight issues. You have to heal the emotional issues and not just go on will alone. Diets moved on will alone are always going to cause yo-yo effects. So Jupiter can help you to heal the self-esteem issues that are creating the weight issue. And Jupiter in this placement is very, very helpful for that. So improving your self-esteem, focusing on self-care, exercise, diet. Some people report that when they're moving through Jupiter's moving through their first house, they actually become more lazy and they gain weight. And that's because Jupiter can make you more lazy and self-indulgent if you're not using this energy actively. You have to use it to actively work on yourself, actively manage your diet, actively get the right practitioner to help you, actively do something rather than letting it inactively affect you. So those are the things that are specific for Virgo. And now I want to talk about the great dates for October for launches, the challenging dates that will definitely bring issues, and how to make the most of the potentials in October. I'm calling the theme of October Intense Impetus for New Birth. So we know whenever we birth something, whether it's an actual child or whether it's a creative project or whether it's a new dimension of an experience, anything new often will come with birthing pains. And this month is full of opportunities to have birthing pains, or also described as the pressure that it either takes to step into a new experience or the pressure it takes to birth something into the tangible dimension, into the this reality, the third dimension. So there are awesome opportunities for launches, for new things coming in. And actually, this is the first month in all of 2016, starting on October 7th and running through around December 2nd, the first few days in December, that we don't have a personal planet retrograde or a shadow interfering with a launch. There have been a couple of other launch phases that I've recommended this year, but neither of those two main phases were completely clear of retrogrades. But we do have to have some time before this time now in October where we were doing some things, launching new things. But this is the period of time now that it's wide open from the perspective of the personal planets being clear of retrograde. So this month is just like such a mixed bag because it has some beautiful aspects, actually even starting at the end of September. September 26th is the first one. I'll go into that. And straight through the end of the month, October 30th is my favorite day of the month for birthing, which I'll get more into that as well. But in between all of those openings for pushing things forth, moving things along, there is a lot of pressure and opposition, challenges. Sometimes it's the challenge, the opposite, that the thing opposing us that actually creates the intense impetus to do something different. And so we get comfortable in our lives and in circumstances, and sometimes it's easier to just let things be than it is to rock the boat in a way that you would have to be able to create a new life, to birth a project, to birth a new dimension of reality. So this month, it seems like it's completely astrologically designed to bring that pressure that's necessary for the new birth. So if you have brought something out at the end of September, or if you're preparing to launch something, just know you might have a little bit of touch and go before the energy is more clear. The energy gets more clear in November, or actually starting October 30th. So I'll give you some good dates that I really like for launching things. And know that if you sign up for my free email newsletter on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, that you get a more detailed review of the month ahead in writing, along with more dates and things that go on in those dates, and good dates and challenging dates, etc. So I'm giving you some summaries of some of the points here, but you can get more access to that a month ahead of time by signing up for my free newsletter. Okay, so October 1st, we have, backtrack. September 26th is one of the most wonderful days of the year for expansion, growth, benevolence, luck. It just happens to be that we're kind of fresh off of Mercury going direct on September 22nd. So it's going to be a great launch date, but I'm putting some conditions in there. If you're launching something that is a relaunch, is a phase of something that is a short-term phase, is addressing something short-term, is like a leg of a journey or a piece of something, then September 26th is fabulous. If it's something that this is the unveiling, the first time someone is ever seeing it, you might want to wait until that October 30th date if you can help it, or at least into October, because you want that Mercury retrograde energy to be more clear when you're launching something for the first time or something long term. Sometimes we fall under this misconception that you can't do anything in Mercury retrograde or shadow, and that's not true. You can do plenty of things, and you can check out my Mercury retrograde video to see more about that. But the things it mostly dictates is short-term ventures and legal contracts. That you want to avoid is long-term ventures and legal contracts, because the energies are murky and they're subject to change. So that's why I say if you've got something that's like a leg of a journey or something like that for a launch, then September 26th is amazing. Also, ultimately, you always have to trust your intuition and your own flow, because there are sometimes, very often, that personal transits in your personal chart will supersede things in the general transits, so that's a very important thing to note always when you're listening to astrological dates and forecasts. So September 26th is an amazing day. October 1st is another awesome day. Venus in Pisces is making a trine, which is the most favorable angle in astrology, to Neptune in Pisces, and that brings amazing healing and artistic, anything having to do with healing, the healing arts or artistic expression. And Venus, which rules love, beauty, and money. So that's a sweet angle. October 26th, we have Venus in Sag making a 60-degree angle to Jupiter in Libra. And a 60-degree angle is a favorable angle, but it's one that you often have to do something to activate its full glory. Sometimes trines will come and you can activate the energy as well, but sometimes they'll just bring blessings without you having to do much. But the 60-degree angle that we have on October 26th really wants some sort of action. So Venus combined with Jupiter is like love, beauty, money in a beautiful angle to expansion and growth and luck. So that's a sweet day. My favorite day of the month, and mark this with a big star on your calendar, is October 30th. We have a new moon at 18 degrees of Scorpio. This new moon is conjunct Mercury, and it also trines Neptune. So we've had a lot of new moons this year that have sort of been conflicted or afflicted with their energies because there were difficult angles going on at the same time. And you do have some challenging energy the days before the new moon, but by the time the new moon comes, most of that should be clear. So it's a really great launching pad for anything. You're free of the Mercury retrograde shadow. It's the beginning of the month. You're free of the challenging angles that dance throughout the month, and so it's just a really nice time. Okay, so there are more dates that I give in my newsletter that are good dates, with some more details there too. So some dates that will likely come with growing or birthing pains or challenges are October 5th, the 15th and 16th, the 19th, and the 28th, 29th. And again, like I said, there are more challenging dates throughout the month of October, which you can see the full list when you sign up for my newsletter, but I don't have time to go into all of them. There are just so many. So October 5th, we have Mars in Capricorn squaring Jupiter in Libra. When these planets come together in this angle, it can often lead to overpromising or having overpromised something and not being able to deliver it, or some sort of overextension of action or will. It could also manifest as obstacles in the way of you trying to do something. Mars is action, and when Jupiter is making a difficult angle, it's like you don't have the great expander on your side. It's being antagonistic. So you'll see some things come up there. October 15th and 16th, it's just like a powerhouse of challenge. I think that challenge can be a very, very, very positive thing. So the way I frame challenges, especially if you are being accountable for your own happiness, if you are taking responsibility for the quality of your experience, we can't control the things that will happen always, right? Very often it's completely out of our control, certain destined events. However, we can control the quality of our experience. And when we have challenges, it often causes us to activate that aspect of free will that we have in our charts and stand up for it and do something about it. And sometimes that takes pressure. So on October 15th and 16th, we have this. This is a yearly event. The Sun opposes Uranus. That makes a 180-degree angle, and it is a challenging angle. So things can come up that can be jostling, erratic people or inconsistencies interfering with something you're trying to do. Mercury is also squaring Pluto, so power figures, someone using their power not in a good way. That could be interfering with your personal expression. And October 16th, we have a full moon at 23 degrees of Aries. And this is a supermoon. This is the fourth supermoon of the year. We have 6 supermoons this year. A supermoon is when the moon is closer to the earth. And you can see it because the moon actually looks bigger. You ever look in the sky and say, whoa, the moon looks huge. It's like right there. That's a supermoon. And we're more affected by everything that the moon affects when there's a supermoon. The gravitational pull on the earth and its inhabitants are increased dramatically when the moon comes closer, especially when it comes into its fullness. So anything that would happen on a full moon will likely be magnified. So that could be lots of emotions, not only negative emotions, there could also be positive emotions. I've had many full moons where I was just brimming with joy, overflowing emotions that were happy. So we're not going to assume that every full moon has to bring some negative drama, although it tends to, because I always use the example of a dog when it gets wet. I love dogs. And when they get wet, they shake, 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 right? And if water represents emotion here, and it does in general, it's like at the full moon, we shake, shake, shake off the excess emotions that we don't process or deal with throughout the month. So this supermoon is in Aries, and one possible challenging aspect of this could bring a health impetus to focus on your health. So could that come through crisis? Yes, maybe, some sort of incident with your health or symptoms or something that maybe they were in the backdrop and then they just got up right in your face. Something like that. Something having to do with yourself, your self-esteem. A very positive aspect that could manifest with a full moon in Aries is amazing recognition and being thrown out into the limelight with it being all about you. Something coming to fruition, something coming to manifestation involving you and what you're doing and what your image is. And, so many people will be cast out in the limelight in this supermoon time. It's really important to note that these transits, even though I give you the dates of them, we can often feel them days before. And the bigger transits, we can feel them weeks or months before sometimes. But the transits that are present this month, you could feel them within days before or within days afterwards. I tend to feel things early. So most of the time when there's a challenging transit, before it comes, it's all right in front of me. And then by the time it actually comes, it's past already. The tension is past, kind of like when you're, when a race car driver is going around a track. And when it gets to the point, if you've ever done like go-karts or anything, then you're like excited to go forward, and then you have to slow down because there's that turn and it's awkward, and then you can zoom for the straight track. So that's similar, I liken it to that. So there's a lot of antagonistic energy at this time, but there's also a lot of chance for fruition, and there's a lot of pressure that's building that can facilitate your birthing of new things. The next transit that can be challenging is Mars and Pluto conjunct in Capricorn, and this occurs on October 19th. So when you have Mars, the god of war, and Pluto, the god of the underworld that rules birth, death, transformation, rebirth, atomic energy, get together, all of those traits will likely be magnified. Now, people can use that for good. People can have their ambitions soar during this transit and get thrown into a position, again, of recognition. There's a theme of this. But there could also be negative energy that brews to the point of verbal or even physical violence. People will be on edge, and angers and tensions may run high. So just be really careful around this time. Don't push anything, you know, if there's a situation that could be sketchy, and just breathe. October 28th and 29th, Mars, again, is in an aspect with a planet that it doesn't work well with when it's in a square. So Mars square Uranus, especially in Aries, which is like this fiery catapult of energy, you know. And Aries rules Mars. So there's like, again, this combination of this very forceful, assertive energy. So just be really careful with your actions and other people's actions. And, you know, if things like, I went to the library the other day and I saw 2 security guards going up, like one called the other one. And I was like, that doesn't look like a good situation. I think I'm going to get out of this situation. Like that, you know, just kind of be looking around for things that don't look right or feel right and distance yourself from them, and don't purposely put yourself in any situations that could be like that if you can help it. So those are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits for October. Again, definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog. I have a new blog on there for making powerful wishes for the new moon in Scorpio, specific for Scorpio wishes. You can advance your wishing power when you align the new moon wishes with the subjects of the sign that the new moon is in. So you can read more about that on my blog. And while you're there, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, and you will get more details the month ahead about the upcoming transits, often some additional details than I give in the horoscopes. While you're there, if you are looking to expand your monetary earning potential or magnetic potential, check out my Unleash Your Money Magnet. So you can click on my programs and check out my other programs in my Unleash Your Money Magnet. So I hope that you have a wonderful month of October. If you want to become a spiritual warrior, then you can check out my Spiritual Warrior Weekends. I'm having a live and virtual option for that experience in November. So you can see more of that on my website. Hope you have a wonderful month. See you soon. Bye.